Dive into the world of ancient political science with two of its most influential figures, Kautilya, an Indian economist and philosopher, and Machiavelli, an Italian diplomat and political theorist. Kautilya, also known as Chanakya or Vishnugupta, was a scholar at the renowned Takshashila University and later the Prime Minister of the Mauryan Empire. He is widely recognized for his work, the Arthashastra, an ancient Indian treatise on statecraft, economics, and military strategy. This seminal work, written in Sanskrit, is considered one of the most comprehensive texts on political science and administration to have ever been written. Its wisdom and teachings have been studied and applied for centuries, influencing not only Indian but global political thought. On the other side of the world, several centuries later, Niccolò Machiavelli was born in Florence, Italy. A diplomat, philosopher, and writer, Machiavelli is often called the father of modern political science. His most famous work, The Prince, is a political treatise that offers advice on political leadership. It's a controversial text with its stark realism and advocacy for ruthless pragmatism in politics. However, it's also an insightful exploration of power dynamics, which has made it an enduring classic in political theory. While Kautilya and Machiavelli were from different eras and cultures, their impact on the field of political science is profound. Kautilya's Arthashastra delves into the intricate details of administrative organization, law, diplomacy, and warfare, whereas Machiavelli's The Prince provides a practical guide for rulers, focusing on the realities and challenges of wielding power. Both of these works have been studied, debated, and referenced time and again for their depth of insight into statecraft. They stand as testament to the intellectual prowess of their authors and their understanding of the complexities of governing a state. These two thinkers, although from different eras and cultures, have greatly shaped our understanding of statecraft. Now let's delve into their views. Kautilya, also known as Chanakya, had a holistic approach to statecraft, which he detailed in his book, the Arthashastra. This ancient Indian treatise on politics, economy, and military strategy, written in Sanskrit, is often compared to Machiavelli's The Prince, but Kautilya's views on statecraft were quite unique. Kautilya believed that the king, or the ruler, played a central role in the administration of the state. He held that the king should be a philosopher, a visionary, and a leader who would guide his subjects towards prosperity. But the king's role was not limited to ruling alone. His responsibilities extended to the welfare of his people. Kautilya emphasized that the happiness of the king lay in the happiness of his subjects. He maintained that a ruler should always work towards the well-being of his people, ensuring their safety, prosperity, and peace. Diplomacy was another crucial aspect of statecraft, according to Kautilya. He argued that a wise ruler must be a skilled diplomat, capable of maintaining alliances and navigating disputes. Kautilya viewed diplomacy not merely as a tool for avoiding conflict, but as a strategic instrument for expanding a state's influence and power. Kautilya also advocated for the use of spies within the state's machinery. He saw espionage as a necessary means to maintain order and stability. His idea was not to breed distrust, but to keep a close watch on potential threats and nip them in the bud. Central to Kautilya's statecraft was a well-structured, centralized administrative system. He stressed on the importance of an efficient bureaucracy that would ensure the smooth functioning of the state. He proposed a detailed administrative hierarchy, with clearly defined roles and responsibilities for each official. Kautilya's approach to statecraft was pragmatic yet compassionate, strategic yet ethical. He believed that a ruler should be stern but fair, always keeping the welfare of his subjects at the forefront. For Kautilya, the prosperity of a state was in its ruler's hands, who should act wisely and justly. Niccolò Machiavelli, on the other hand, had a more pragmatic and often controversial approach to statecraft. Born in Florence, Italy, Machiavelli was a political philosopher whose ideas on power and governance had a profound influence on political conduct. His most famous work, The Prince, continues to be a pivotal text in understanding political realism. Machiavelli believed that a ruler's primary goal should be the acquisition and maintenance of power. He argued that a leader must be willing to set aside ethical considerations if they conflict with this objective. This pragmatic approach led to his infamous assertion that it is better for a leader to be feared than loved, if he cannot be both. Fear, according to Machiavelli, is a more reliable means of maintaining control, as love can be fickle, while fear remains a consistent motivator. But perhaps the most controversial element of Machiavelli's philosophy is his belief in the notion that the end justifies the means. This means that whatever actions a leader takes, no matter how ruthless or morally questionable, are justified if they contribute to the stability and prosperity of the state. This does not mean Machiavelli advocated for tyranny or unnecessary cruelty. Instead, his philosophy suggested that sometimes hard decisions and actions are necessary for the greater good. Additionally, Machiavelli placed significant emphasis on the importance of military power. He believed that a strong and well-prepared military was essential to secure a state's power and deter potential threats. He also suggested that a ruler should always be prepared for war, as it is through military strength that a state can defend its interests and assert its influence. Machiavelli's views on statecraft were undeniably pragmatic, even cynical. He recognized the harsh realities of politics and power, advocating for a realistic approach that often clashed with traditional moral and ethical norms. His ideas continue to spark debate and discussion, demonstrating their enduring relevance. Machiavelli believed in the ruthless exercise of power and prioritized the stability of the state over moral considerations. Despite their differences, KAUTILYA and Machiavelli share some common ground in their views on statecraft. Firstly, both thinkers advocate for a strong central authority. KAUTILYA, in his treatise Arthashastra, emphasized a well-structured administrative system, where the king is the pivot. Similarly, Machiavelli in his seminal work, The Prince, also stressed the importance of a powerful ruler. They both believed that a robust central authority is pivotal in maintaining order, stability, and prosperity in the state. Secondly, they both recognized the use of spies as an essential tool in governance. KAUTILYA's Arthashastra details an intricate spy network, contributing to the stability and security of the state. Similarly, Machiavelli too saw espionage as necessary for a ruler to maintain power and control. They both understood that information is power, and the use of spies provides this vital information. Thirdly, both thinkers acknowledged the importance of diplomacy in statecraft. KAUTILYA advocated for a realpolitik approach, where a king must use diplomacy and alliances to maintain balance and control. On the other hand, Machiavelli suggested that a ruler should be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten the wolves, highlighting the importance of cunning and strength in diplomacy. However, their views diverge significantly when it comes to morality, the role of the king, and the use of power. KAUTILYA believed in a moral duty of the king towards his subjects, whereas Machiavelli argued that the end justifies the means, even if it requires immoral actions. For KAUTILYA, the king is a servant of the state, while for Machiavelli, the king's primary role is to maintain his power. KAUTILYA emphasized on dharma, righteousness, whereas Machiavelli focused on virtue, skill, and prowess. In conclusion, while KAUTILYA and Machiavelli come from different cultures and times, they both provide valuable insights into the art of governance and statecraft. Their works, though distinct, share common themes, yet also present contrasting perspectives on morality, the role of the king, and the use of power. Both thinkers, in their unique ways, emphasize the importance of strategic thinking in statecraft. KAUTILYA and Machiavelli, two giants of political theory, offer us different lenses to view the art of statecraft. These lenses, crafted centuries apart, reflect the unique contexts and cultures that shape these theorists, yet they also reveal intriguing convergences. KAUTILYA, the ancient Indian scholar, held a holistic view of statecraft where justice, prosperity, and welfare of the people were key. He saw the state as a living organism, with the ruler as its guiding mind. His vision was one where the ruler, through wisdom and ethical conduct, ensured the well-being of his subjects. In contrast, Machiavelli, the Renaissance Italian, had a more pragmatic and sometimes cynical view. He perceived the state as a complex game of power, where the ruler needed to be cunning, strategic, and at times ruthless to maintain control and order. The end justified the means in his view, a sharp departure from KAUTILYA's emphasis on righteousness. Yet despite their differences, there are undeniable similarities. Both theorists recognize the importance of a strong, effective ruler and the necessity of maintaining order and stability. Both understood that statecraft was a delicate balancing act, requiring wisdom, foresight, and adaptability. In today's political landscape, their ideas remain highly relevant. Kautilya's emphasis on ethical leadership and welfare resonates with modern notions of social justice and responsible governance. Similarly, Machiavelli's realism and strategic acumen find echoes in the pragmatic politics of today, where leaders often have to make hard, controversial decisions for the greater good. Their contrasting views also serve as a reminder of the diverse approaches to governance and politics. They challenge us to think critically about the role of power, ethics, and strategy in statecraft, and to continually reassess our own views in light of changing circumstances and values. While they may have different views on statecraft, both Kautilya and Machiavelli have left an indelible mark on the discipline, influencing generations of leaders and political thinkers alike.